We are working through this stuff. We'll see if it works. Holly should be here any minute. Humming, and everything's on cue. Sorry, been gone so long. And I've got a cold. Just quick recap. We had the elk hunt. I was out of town. As soon as the elk hunt ends, had a family injury. So spent the next week back and forth to the hospital helping out family member. And then at the exact same time, we had a family loss that is you can't explain what happens in that, I think everyone's familiar with how that goes. That's such a big thing. But anyways, so we're back, and tonight we want to talk about everything. No King's protests, the riots in Portland and Chicago, postulation, humana. Gonna chat about that. We're gonna chat about whatever anyone else wants to chat about. Of course, we're always open to, because interesting subjects are what they are. But let me go ahead and kick this intro off.
Live from Utah's Wasatch Front, the pulse of the Mountain West, where the issues that shape your life meet the truth that sets you free. Across Utah, across the Republic, and around the world, welcome. This is KMMU.
All right. Again, I want to thank KMMU for just all the support they've given us and everything else, everything they've done. And outstanding group. So still waiting on Holly, so you guys get to enjoy the rantings and ravings of me, the madman. Oh, good. Holly's here. So now we can bring her in, and she can take over.
Whoa, what's going on?
Why are you?
It looks like I'm cut off. Am I cut off?
Don't think so.
How do I expand Restream?
You want it like that?
Yeah. It's there, like such a small square on my computer that. Hi, everybody. If I may, Jared, I just want to tell everyone that I appreciate your patience as we have been having a time off. I sadly lost my stepfather. He'd been battling an illness and was hanging on for a long time. And our family didn't want to leave his side, so he didn't die by himself. And we've been there for my mother, and then the funeral planning, and we planned a military funeral for him. He's a veteran, Air Force. And we just finished that all up on Saturday. So that's where I've been, and I'm so grateful, Jared, because you've been wonderful. I'm grateful to you and your family for supporting us through this, and I just love you all. And I'm sorry that we haven't had a show, but it's was pretty big deal, pretty big life event that happened. So I hope you understand, and I'm grateful for those of you that are tuning in now.
Yes, and you know, I wasn't able to be at his service. I apologize for that, but I am, I want to give you my, you know, heartfelt sympathy and all that, you know, such a hard thing to go through, and especially your mom who, such a sweet lady, and I don't know, I'm not good with what to say in moments like this, but um I am truly sorry.
I I know. Thank you. You've been great. You don't have to say anything. Your actions speak louder than words ever can. And I know you got your own family stuff going on, and my heart is with you and your family.
Yeah, it's wild how that all hit at the same time. So um a couple days after your stepfather passed away, my grandmother, my 95-year-old grandma, fell and broke her hip and her arm. And at 95, it's not like if I broke my hip, they would probably have me convalescent and home in a week. Her, it's going to be over a month, and it's, so been staying in the hospital with her, and which is why I had to miss your service. I'm glad my father got to go in my stead, and and support his cousin as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have family on like both sides where we keep coming back to a relation that Jared and I are not only blood cousins, but we're
My
also
cousin
connected by
married her
marriage.
stepbrother, and we didn't know
So
about
funny.
this.
No, it's just such a small world, and
It is.
I think we were meant to find each other and
Yeah.
do cool stuff. So I'm glad, and we're happy to get back into everything. We've had a lot of news happen over the course of 2 weeks. So much news. I'm sure we just probably want to outline it. We hope any of you watching are ready to comment and give us, your 2 cents on what's going on right now in the world. And we can go off of you, and we also can talk about things that I'm sure you have a list, Jared. I know I sent you one kind of.
I'll let you run where we go. I'm overwhelmed by everything that keeps going on. It's almost like we're living in a dream right now. It's just one of those where the dream happens. One minute you have a newborn baby, the next minute a brand new car, the next minute you're tight roping on a building. That's our country right now.
Yeah. Well, and we can start off with just what's been on the news just lately, the No Kings protest, which for me, I have a hard time looking at it without just rolling my eyes. I know what they were gathered for. I know that, what we find is that they were highly funded, their signage and things like that. But they're essentially protesting the no king, meaning insinuating Donald Trump is trying to be a king. All the while, it's interesting because, if he was a king, he'd have a lot more power, and he wouldn't need the Senate to come back and the House to come back and this government to come back. He's doing all he can within the combat the Declaration of Independence Constitution, but and he's probably trying to push even further, but the courts are on it. And I'm just thinking, like, why aren't you guys protesting the government being shut down? Why aren't we getting these people back to work? They're all getting paid. They all get paid. But the people that are in this shutdown, the American citizens like you and me, we're not getting paid.
Yeah.
Yet the government still gets paid. And if Trump is going to lay off 4,000 jobs because he realizes they're not non-essential, and maybe the government, just so he can pay military workers a wage while this government is shut down, I'm here for it. I want the government smaller, always.
it's I don't know. Excuse me. What I find hilarious is that they had sympathetic no kings protests in England.
You can't make this up. You cannot make this up.
It's a comedy.
It is.
It's too much.
I'm just, I don't even know what to say to that. That is so stupid. And they literally have a king, and they're fine with it.
I wonder if any of them, like that morning when they're glittering up their sign and, you know, the dude's putting his thong on or whatever, his tights. If he went, wait a minute. I can't. Here's the deal. These protests are going to happen regardless. It's going to be made up cliche after made up cliche because the Democrat Party can't stand democracy. Right now, the world is boiling to a head between what we call the left and the right, but it's boiling to a head over different ideologies, and the different ideologies reflect differently everywhere. What we might call the right somewhere else might not. But it's kind of I like to argue it in the Western world as a Lockean versus Rousseauian liberalism. They're both
rolls off the tongue.
Yeah, well, it really does, doesn't it? Well,
I'm going to close my door. You just
yes. One side wants the freedom from responsibility, and the other side wants the freedom to have total responsibility over themselves. So that seems to be where, that's just my feeling. I could be wrong. I want anyone who has a different idea to please speak up. Tell me what your thoughts are.
Well, I think you're dead on.
There's a big thing that happened. This is a global thing that happened. Nepal overthrew their government that actually was acting kind of totalitarian, and they did it violently. And this happened like a month and a half, 2 months ago. And we were poised to talk about it, and then other things come up. And so we haven't had a chance to talk about it, but they killed politicians, murdered them. And now there's like an internet Redditor who's now their interim president. It's wild, you know, the whole world, and not every country. It's not like, oh, there's a global rise up for individualism and whatever else, because believe me, both sides are fighting for their ideals of individualism. The left wants the Rousseauian style of individualism. That's your ability to be an individual without carrying any of the responsibility of it. And the right wants the Lockean style of individualism. And that's where you get to shoulder your responsibility and yours alone. You don't have to shoulder others or limited amount. And both sides are fighting over it. And then you've got the Democrat Party cannot stand anymore to see democracy come to fruition. And I'm sorry if you're a Democrat and you hear this and that, you know, makes your cackles raise. But let's face it, you guys haven't been very democratic in your presidential run over the last 20 years. And also, Obama was your last democratically primaried person in a fair primary. And we don't even know if that was fair, because there was an awful lot of shady dropouts last minute there too.
Yeah. And what they did to what's his name with Hillary Clinton's
to Bernie, yeah,
Bernie Sanders.
Yep.
It's shady. It's shady.
It is, it is. But I wonder, what's going to come. It feels like we're moving towards a boiling point. And I look down the road and I don't see any way that both sides are going to peaceably come together. And Holly apparently didn't want to chat with us anymore. Peaceably come together and settle. And I don't see it, at least in all of the Western world. I don't know what we're looking at. I think right now, more than ever, and I've said this before, I think right now, more than ever, we need to lean on the 10th Amendment. We need to let blue states do blue state stuff and red states do red state stuff, and let that melting pot of ideas that was the dream of federalism come to fruition, so that we can maybe maintain a secure nation, something. I honestly think we need to lean into the 10th Amendment. I think that's all that can salvage this. But that'll mean letting hard decisions go by. So hard decisions are the government has to retract into simplicity. We would no longer be a world power. No, we wouldn't be the unipolar world power. Other countries would charge right into that gap. We would see China charge into that gap, and possibly India. So yeah, and things would probably get a little more expensive. We would have to, states would have to design how they want to have their immigration system and things like that. And that would be kind of in accordance with what their state can bear. I don't know how free movement would look. I think this would all have to be played out. There'd be a lot of sacrifices made during this. Now, Holly is back on, but of course, she's just given us a black screen. So let's go ahead and read some comments. Jordan says, yo, hello, Jared. It's been a while. Woohoo, party with Jared and Holly. Yeah, tons of crazy political stuff going on lately. The local elections are coming up. Let's all do our civic duty and vote. Yes, I've got my ballot in on the table. I still haven't decided if I'm going to actually vote, and I don't know why. I've looked at it and I've thought, when realistically, it's all local elections, so it's important. Voting for mayor, city council, all that stuff is stuff that really impacts my life. And yeah. Holly's bumping in and out like she's there, but she's not there. Holly, if you can hear me, we can't see you. So yeah, but do your studying, do your voting. He also says he totally understands why we were gone. His sympathy to you. Rest in peace. Sorry for your loss, Holly. It is, I don't know. I hope we can figure this out. Maybe we have to do a modified 10th Amendment. Maybe we have to allow some blue states to, we already have, but to have certain restrictions that they want, and allow red states to have others. And hopefully we would have the opportunity for gray states in the middle, states that are neither red nor blue, but they're somewhere in the middle, somewhere sitting there pulling ideas from, Texas and California and things like that. I'm thinking of a state, maybe Wyoming could pull that off, where it's got such a low population, it could handle being a little more fiscally conservative and socially dynamic. I don't want to say socially libertine, but socially dynamic. But I don't know. And Holly is not coming up on here. She's just sitting out there where we can't see her. I'll shoot her a message real quick. I don't know what is going on there. It's like she's there, but bumped off. So, I was leaving the hospital as the No Kings protest settled in Salt Lake, and I got to see the parade of people leaving. Now, I'm not going to judge the whole protest on the handful of people that I saw, but I will say it looked like a lot of retirees, a lot of elderly people in that parade. I didn't see any youthful ones in the parade that walked past me. And that makes me, it kind of makes me wonder if a little bit of this isn't the boomers who marched at Berkeley reliving their college days as one last hurrah as they enter retirement. All right, can we hear you, Holly? She can't hear us. We can't hear her. Yeah. Well, she's getting her butt kicked by technology. Okay. Oh, we got more Hollies now.
Yeah, I had to go off my phone. I think that's...
So you can either turn your phone sideways and let it bump in. There you go. Look at that. Okay. And now we got another Holly coming in. Do I need to get your son to come down there and help you technology?
No, I'm turning this one down. I don't know what's up with the link because it just kept kicking me.
Oh, and it could be an internet thing. I don't know. Could be any number of things. But anyway, so did you hear what I was saying?
No, I was in a frenzy, losing my mind.
Yeah. It just feels like everything's boiling to a head, and I don't see a solution in the future. I don't see a situation where, I mean, okay, here's a situation. If we have another, God forbid, 9/11, I think the country would come together for a while and maybe figure a new way out. That'd be like a little mini reset. But I don't want that because it's what comes out of that.
Right now.
What's that?
Are we on YouTube right now?
Let me have
live.
Should be.
Oh, I see it. Okay. Just making sure.
Yes, we are. But yeah, so I'm just, you know, I don't see a solution in our future. I don't see one that I'd be satisfied with.
I think the country, I mean, right now we're literally trying to get peace on earth, right? United States is leading the peace efforts, which I think are huge and important. And some people are saying biblical, like.
The hard part is we have two groups over there who are very antagonistic. I'm sure that if it was just the U.S. and we didn't have the two groups over there that were so antagonistic towards each other, we could pull it off. But we got to keep them in check, you know? Like, part of the deal, you saw it go around. Part of the peace deal was Hamas had to disarm. Okay. And then, like, the next morning, you saw videos that was reportedly Hamas killing Palestinians in the street. And that
Palestinians that I believe were received back from Israel that they
so
saw as traitors.
you've heard a lot of sayings, but also I've heard that they were Palestinians who were during the swap were looting the storage of food or whatever, and price gouging, whatever it was, don't care. I mean, I do, but on the bigger picture, when they say Hamas has to disarm, what does that look like for Palestine in the interim when we're trying to keep Israel on one side, and then we tell one other side your government has to go away tomorrow?
Well, part of the agreement said that we would train trusted Palestinians to
Sure,
be the military and to
100%.
the police. But
What
just
happens?
that one sentence that Hamas has to disarm.
Yes, hold on. No, I want you to.
Huge.
It is, but what
Possible.
happens? What happens in that? Let's say we do a fast basic training type situation, 4 weeks. What happens in that 4 weeks? Who polices the country for that 4 weeks? Or does the country just go into savage mode for 4 weeks? And then the government we established, because we tried this in Iraq. Remember that de-Ba'athification. How'd that pan out?
Not well.
Not well at all. Matter of fact, I will argue, if we hadn't have done that, Iraq wouldn't have turned into the shitstorm it did.
Well, that's the problem in America. We always think we know better. And
don't we? Yeah.
That's why Trump wanted to bring in the Middle Eastern countries to oversee it, not America. So but Jordan, Egypt as a collective.
But none of them want to.
Well, I want you to Jared, they said they would in the peace treaty, that they would be training police and training military, and they would go in and blow up the tunnels and helping Israel, helping Hamas and the Palestinian people. But we're still going to come back to the start where they'd have to drop their weapons. And I don't see any terrorist organization doing that.
Well, yeah,
Ever.
They don't. Honestly, I think what we need to do is say, all right, you guys keep governing nice and quiet, just quiet. We train up Palestinians, then we kill Hamas.
Yeah.
Period.
But don't you think Hamas will kill anyone being trained?
No, we train them up. There's no reason why we can't have, 75th Ranger Regiment in there, set at an airfield, their natural habitat, set up a training camp. Hamas is not going to have very good luck on that. Get them trained up and then release them into the world. Another thing we got to hope for is that we're not dealing with another Afghanistan.
Yeah.
Because those guys we couldn't train up. I don't care how much effort we put into it. You can't train those guys into a modern, formal peacekeeping force in the world. You cannot. They've got a century to go before you can do that. Just watch them try to do jumping jacks.
You also have to give them something to protect and worth fighting for, which is the rebuild of Palestine, where these people get jobs, these people get hope, and we hopefully can see them get away from the ideology, which is what's running Hamas, that has been indoctrinated into them since they were babies. They don't know anything better, and those things take time. And with that agreement that was signed, those tunnels had to be destroyed. On Israel's side, that was an absolute. And then I understand that possible shots were taken at Israeli soldiers who were trying to destroy tunnels.
Of course. Hamas is Hamas. Look, even if Hamas's leadership honors this, you've got all their people in there that joined Hamas for a reason.
Yes.
Right now, Hamas is probably, I'll bet they're what you would call their, I don't know, lower enlisted class has emptied. We don't know where they are. We don't know what they have. We don't know where they're going.
When you look at Gaza, I can't even believe human beings have been able to live there, to be honest. And the only buildings that are standing, I imagine, have been full. I mean, floor to floor with people. sleeping. The food needed to come in. Water needs to come in.
Mm-hmm.
I have to say hi to Jordan. I've missed you, Jordan. Thank you. Happy to
Yes.
have you here. And thank you very much for your sweet words. I appreciate you.
What do you think about Greta Thunberg getting tortured by Israel?
Tortured. What, did they give her that haircut?
No, she was saying they would kick her and kept her chained to a wall and abused her and her comrades the whole time. But they're good at it. They didn't leave any marks.
Well, and I don't believe Greta Thunberg about
What?
thing. Yeah. So, I mean, I
How?
think that she is a useful clown. And I don't think it's her fault. I think it's her parents and the people around her whole life, because she says stuff like most of the predictions she was yelling at the UN about, well, they're gone. Like, the time is now here and they didn't come true. So now she's going to go into the Palestine-Israel fight. What?
I think you're right. Her parents took at the time, what was she, 14?
Younger.
And spun her up and
she was younger.
Yeah, twisted her into this little activist for a reason. One, she's neurodivergent, we will say that. And so she doesn't pick up on cues, so she'll just charge ahead. And also, they picked her a young girl because the last people on earth that will receive criticism is infants. And the second to last is young girls.
And neurodivergent young girls.
And and that's another guard on there. So
she spoke really eloquently as far as lefty garbage goes. She made an impact there on a lot of people.
She made an impact amongst people who are hysterical.
Yes.
But she didn't make an impact on normal. I guarantee you she didn't change one person's mind. She only reinforced.
I would agree with that. But I did feel sorry for her back then, because I thought, they are using this girl.
Sure, she's got no chance at a normal life. She's going to jump from Palestine. Palestine, the solution's here. I think there's going to be a rough time in the middle. I think this debafication that we're doing kind of concerns me, but I promise smarter people than I are working on this. Remember, I am a moron that's just talking out of my butt. But she is going to jump from cause du jour. She will never obtain a life that she will look at. Let me tell you a story. So I'm in the hospital.
Time out 1 second.
Yeah.
Also, her school indoctrinated her.
Yeah, and
a lot of these talking points are going through our schools as well, but there still is some manner of control depending on the school. But yeah, we're talking from the second
100%.
she started walking, this young girl has been indoctrinated.
Well,
and I absolutely agree with you.
Her parents are activists and everything else. But let me tell you a story, and this brought a reflection to my thoughts. So when Grandma fell, it was Monday, not last Monday, but the Monday before. And they took her into the University of Utah and got her settled in. And that night that she rode in the ambulance, she had 8 people sitting in the emergency room, waiting room. Because we couldn't see her really, but 8 people showed up. And that's a good number of people to show up for an injury. And then when she got up to her room, a nurse counted all the people that were there all day long. We're talking 8 hours. And there were 33 of us, plus people that filtered in and out. But there were 33 people filling this hallway and this hospital room And I thought about that, and I thought, this is a woman who has some 20 grandkids, right? She had 5 children, like 20 grandkids, 70, probably close to 70 great grandkids, and 5 great great grandkids. This is a woman that nobody else has to show up for, just blood. This woman made all of this. And I think to Tucker Carlson, love him or hate him, I don't care. But he said one thing that, and I'm going to slaughter this quote, but he said, when I die, I want to die surrounded. I want to die by a fire, sitting in a chair with my offspring at my feet. I want to be surrounded by offspring. And I thought,
doesn't want to be burning in the fire, right? He just
no,
means
he's
nice
sitting in
fire.
a chair at a fire in a cabin, but all of his offspring surrounding him.
Yes.
And I thought, that's a life. Look, the universe is trying to kill you every second of your life, and it will win. You will be erased from history one day. And the second best thing you can do is do something notable to where people down the line study you. But the most important thing you can do is throw your genetic makeup as far down the tunnel of history as you can.
Well, and I think the point too that you're getting at is that
Greta's never going to have that.
When you are at that last moment, I think about my dad and my stepfather in this last moment, and I think about my father in his last days, hundreds of people coming through the hospital. And it was beautiful because at the very end, it's about the impact you left on the souls around you and the people you've connected with, or the people that you've treated well, or the people that you've birthed, or that you are the sire of, or whatever it is. What a beautiful ending to your story, even if you're not going to be in history, even if they'll never write about you for anything substantial. You had a full and beautiful life.
And you made
people that you watered the garden.
You made people. My grandma's, now she's in a convalescing and a resting home for physical therapy. And no less than 5 people are filtering in and out at different times during the day. Grandkids are going up there, and great grandkids are going up there. And I'm walking in as my aunt's walking out. And as I'm walking out, my niece is coming in. And as my niece is walking out, my cousin's coming in. And
I'll be coming in.
Yeah, your mother was there right before my aunt got there. So it's just this filter, and she doesn't have to concern herself with sitting in that room alone.
Yeah.
That's
pretty amazing. It's really amazing, in my opinion, because I feel the same way. I may never make history for any reason. I am good with that. If I get to live a full life, and at the end of my life, I'm not alone. I have the family and friends that I love, and the relationships that I've made, even people that don't necessarily like me, that respect me or believe that I treated them well, I hope. That's a good life. And when you alienate a child, or you fill their mind up with stuff that causes them to be constantly at a battle, either with people, with politics, I can be in politics and treat people with respect and come to an understanding where we can have a conversation. I think the people that live being victims, their lives are about being victims, or advocates, activists, whatever. But it's where there's no compromising in your activism. someone like her is going to be very, very
Well,
lonely, and she has no
there's
strength.
compromising. There's compromising when it's obvious you were spreading BS on your first activism, so you jump to another, and there'll be another after that. What it reminds me of her, it reminds me of Joan of Arc. Tragic ending, but Joan of Arc was chosen by God, or madness, depending on what your theology is. But Greta was forced into, they tried making her a Joan of Arc, a young, crazed leader of a movement. And obviously they failed on theirs. I mean, I guess that's the difference between when you have vegan, wealthy parents and God choosing your path. But in the end, it's not a bright future. Well,
it's
or
a lonely,
technically, it's a very bright future.
and
Go on.
if you believe in God, you have to know that the relationships, the gardens you water are the gardens that will flourish, and that to be together with those people in life and in death are a beautiful testimony to your life. And I hope every single person out there has people that are going to be by their side if they do have a fall, or if they are going through something, or if they do pass away. It's sad. It hurts my heart to think that people like her and many of these Democrat politicians and these George Soros, for example. I mean, who's holding his hand?
Just don't
besides
say the
maybe his
name
son?
3 times, please.
I won't. But
I don't
someone
want him
like
to
him,
pop up
everyone
and
knows who he is.
suck all the
But
oxygen out of the room, a cloud of smoke, poof. He shows up
people
with a
follow
forked
him
tongue.
because he pays them to.
Well, yeah.
And people fear him because he's got the money and the power. But at the same time, like, does he have a connection, a soul connection with anybody? Like that can look at him as a human being, a imperfect human being? Does
Do you
he
think
love?
do you think he's a true believer? Like, do you think he
in what?
in his globalism? Do you
No.
think he's a true believer, or do you think he's doing it because he understands as a large business owner that if you have open borders, that benefits the equestrian class?
I think he really likes to be a profiteer during chaos. And not just, I mean, he wasn't doing it in our country as bad as he was in other countries. And then he switched to America. I do believe that he thinks that socialism can be done right. And he's probably a communist at heart. Well,
he got kicked out of the Eastern Bloc.
Yeah, I don't think that he believes in climate change. I don't think he believes that these politicians are the right politicians he's backing. I think he likes chaos because he profits from it. And in some way, shape, or form, he loves the power.
Yeah, and also,
but he loves the power, absolutely.
Also, what we haven't, we need a reckoning on this. So, USAID would take taxpayer money and funnel it to organizations such as his or Act Blue that'd peel a little bit of it off. And some portion of these organizations were chaos causing organizations. They would cause chaos globally, which would cause more need for Act Blue, which would begin that cycle where Act Blue would take government money. It would peel a stipend off for, or not Act Blue, USAID would take government money, peel a stipend off for Act Blue, peel a stipend off for Soros's Open Society Foundation and other foundations.
Multiple things that
he has. And it'd peel them off. And so I've often wondered, or not often, I've wondered since this stuff with USAID started coming out. And the left, the Democrats never heard this because CNN never talked about it. MSNBC never talked about it. Pod Saves America never talked about it. Whatever whingy female-oriented podcast that they listen to never talked about it. USAID was taking our tax money and boosting the Democrat Party with it. And so I wonder, since USAID was set up in, I want to say, the 90s, how long has the Democrats maintained their stronghold on power because of funds that they illicitly took from our taxes?
I think since its inception, they realized it was a money laundering scheme
Mm-hmm.
that helped them keep power. And I think that the Democrats' playbook was this: you're going to kill hundreds of thousands of kids. They're going to go hungry because you're ending this. I mean, and they had all the feels wrapped up in it, and that's all they talked about on The View or on CNN. They never talked about, you're right, all the waste, fraud, and abuse found within it.
Well, just
So
that they
much
were
so
peeling,
it wasn't even worth saving.
just the blanket that they were peeling money from taxpayers off and sending it to a political party. That right there. I mean, honestly, people should receive extreme judicial punishment for things like that.
I have to add something else. Besides politics in America, how about the money being sent into countries who have a religion, Muslims, for example, to teach gay men how to dance, or to make them activists, or to teach, the Deuce Bigelows out there in the Philippines.
Transgender
I mean,
studies in
they're
Pakistan.
trying to, that is legal, that is warfare as far
It's
as I'm concerned.
disruption, 100%.
They're going and ruining the young people in these countries and possibly getting them killed. It is not right. And yeah, I don't want them putting money into Democrat politics, my tax dollars,
Well,
or into abortions or any of that. But to
the
try
argument-
to cause chaos in
the
other
argument for
countries,
me is, the reason I focus on that Democrat argument is because it's partisan. Because if there was a group that was funneling money to the Republicans, the Democrats would be up in arms. You shouldn't take taxpayer money and funnel it towards private political organizations. You shouldn't.
I fully agree. I would be pissed if they were doing it to Republicans too. I would be angry.
Yes, it's shady, and you tax the dirt out of us. And not only that, you tax the dirt out of us, and the taxes aren't even enough to cover what you're spending. So then you go get a loan, the hidden tax, and that's, that inflates our currency and devalues our credit around the world. And right now, China is just biding its time until we have an economic collapse. And then Taiwan's gone. I'm sorry, we have an economic collapse. We're not able to support Taiwan. We're done.
I want to get into aspect of that actual issue, if I may. I wanted to talk about the Venezuelan boats that have been getting bombed. We're at 7 now. As a Republican and an American citizen, I'm a little bothered by these people being bombed without due process. At the same time, I understand that they have been researched fully. CIA is in Venezuela. They are watching these boats and the company sending them out, and they know they're drug boats according to the CIA. Again, CIA. But there's also another point that was made, I think, on the Glenn Beck show this morning, maybe yesterday, where they're having our military set up over there, the Caribbean, not just to watch these drug boats, but to make sure they're close to Taiwan, because China has full intentions in 2027. It's what they've said. They will go after Taiwan.
Well, yeah, I think they fully expect us to have an economic collapse. I really do.
Well, I'm sure they did, especially with Biden, but I'm not sure where they're thinking now, because
you can't.
right now you have the military in proximity. You've got Trump saying,
well, the Caribbean and Taiwan are, I mean, if you
no,
wanted
these
them,
are drones that are up. I don't know if they're drones or satellites. Like, they can hit
if you
these guys.
wanted us close to Taiwan, they'd have us in Hawaii. You know, they would be saying
What they're saying is the drones or whatever you're seeing that are shooting these boats is way, way higher than just the boats. They've got a whole view of.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure. And we've got a view of China anyway. Let me pose a different thought. Here's a thought. So in Desert Storm 1, China had been building its military towards what it perceived the U.S. military to be. China was an adversary in the 90s, wanted Taiwan and Hong Kong. They got Hong Kong because Great Britain castrated itself, but they also wanted Taiwan, and they figured that eventually we would be trading lead. And we went into, there's a book written by two colonels. I haven't read it. I need to get it and read it. It's kind of the Chinese battle plan by these two colonels, and it's a fourth generational warfare type situation. And when they saw how we performed in Desert Storm, the Chinese military ground to a halt, stopped dead in its tracks, because it said, the way we have designed this military over the last 30 years will not withstand that. So they redesigned their forces. They leaned heavier into intelligence gathering and stuff. They knew they couldn't outspend us. They still can't. They may have more boats in their Navy, with heavy quotation marks, so they say, but their boats are little fishing boats or drug smuggling boats. So what if we are sending another message that, look at what we can target and what we can do?
That's exactly what I think they're doing. Not just to China, but to the world. And
I do believe that we should declare something against the fentanyl coming into the country.
He did. Any drug cartel is,
and I fully support that. Although my libertarian craziness says, well, you're just going to make a larger black market with more want. So I hope that this time the government says, maybe we should figure out something to fill that gap. Either, I don't know, government set up aid stations, mail order methadone. I don't know, something that we can fill that void that we provide, even if, and this is heretical to say, we start figuring out how to provide some kind of fentanyl detox program where they come in and we lure them in by giving them their fix and then hopefully get them off of it. And just like anything else, it's an eternal addiction that stays with them and they fail X amount of times. But if we don't provide that gap, it'll be brought in through Canada or somewhere else. It'll never go away.
We also need to improve the economy. We also
100%.
need to make people don't have to use drugs to self-medicate their lives. A lot of people, drugs and crime go down when the economy is good and there are jobs that people can pay their bills, and buy groceries. Like, a lot of people turn to drugs because it's their way to escape let's give them a life. They don't have to escape. But I hate government programs and all of that. But I think maybe having states set those things up with backing from the federal government, perhaps, or working through the sheriffs, where
What if they just left it up?
and a facility for rehab or something, so courts can send you to a rehab, an actual rehab, where there's funding for that, especially in rural areas.
What if the federal government did away with all federal scheduling and we let states decide and try the best ways to deal with it, such as a state in, a heavy fentanyl laden place or oxy place one state can try setting up rehabs and kind of, I think where Portland went wrong with its free use, or the whole West Coast, is it did free use, but it didn't police to keep that use inside the bounds, such as you can use it, but you can't use it on the street. You can use it, but you can't wander around like a zombie. So I would say more like, was it Portugal's setup, where they had, if you wanted to use it, you went to this government building where they had nurses on hand and they measured it, and you couldn't bring in outside stuff. So everything in there is clean, provided by the state. And maybe that can be done by a state. What's that?
San Francisco tried that, where you could
But
come
they
in
didn't
and
police it.
shot. No, because there's not money to police it.
Well, they
have
didn't
to build a building where people can actually stay for all the hours they're going to be high. You can't let them walk out on the street high.
That's what I'm saying.
And
You've got
there's
to.
no insurance company that's going to cover the liability of that.
Well, that's because we need to rewrite the whole insurance system we have right now anyway,
But Jared,
which is the government shutdown mess.
Then the government is in the drug business. We have to create fentanyl. Or
okay, so what's the other option? Because let's think back to the 21st Amendment. How'd that pan out for us?
Well, you can't. Here's what I'm saying. If they can't find it and it has to be produced here or whatever, you have to get them help. But a user has to want help. You can't force them.
Well, you don't force them.
Screws up everything they touch. Everything.
Yes, they do.
It's got to be done through churches, through communities,
sure,
through small counties and cities. Not through our taxes, but through our time and efforts.
But we're missing my argument. You think I'm laying out a plan. I am not a professional at this. The only plan I'm laying out is that we pull the federal government off this and we let the states individually deal with this.
But the federal government still should be not allowing it in the country, right?
100%.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I think the states that have tried have screwed up royally, ruined their cities because of the no money to police it.
I think it's the way the states tried that failed, though.
Look how many homeless people went to San Francisco just because they could do their drugs there.
Well, and also because San Francisco is honestly the land of milk and honey.
Yeah, but it's cold. And these people aren't in LA.
It is not cold.
Homeless. I've been a few times and it's been cold.
Oh, sure. Cold down to what? 50 degrees?
Well, I went to a game out there in Oakland and it was freaking freezing. That's a train ride.
The homeless went there because, one, the state offers a lot of services. That's why they go there.
Especially, they were able to do their drugs there, and the homeless population just multiplied.
How did Portugal figure it out then?
I don't know. I don't know what Portugal did.
You should look it up one day. It's a real interesting story.
Did they build buildings for these people?
Yes, they did.
Housed them?
You got whatever your drug was from the state, and you walked in, and it was structured, and they had a counselor on one side of the hallway. They had kind of, maybe you could call it a soft probation on the other side. They had a job finding everything, from what I understand. Never been there. Just from what I understand is you walked in and it was all of the homeless and downtrodden services all in one place, and you went to that place and you went past those outreach for your drug, and the drugs were they died away. The people on the outside quit. The dealers quit because there's no money in it, because the state decided to pick up that tab for society. Am I saying it's right or wrong? I don't know. I'm saying we need to try something different, because we can keep going with what we're doing on all sides, and on every side we're a failure. On every side we are failing. On the right we're failing, and on the left we're failing. On the religious side we're failing. On the agnostic side we're failing. We're failing. And we can keep it going.
I would never want my tax dollars to be spent getting someone high at their leisure.
Well,
I would want my tax dollars spent on people who want help. But the accountability comes down to the people who are addicted to drugs, and they've got to come to the conclusion they don't want this life. If you're handed this life and you don't have any accountability or responsibilities, you get to be homeless, you get to do your drugs, you got a bed, you got 3 hot meals, and your dope. Nah.
But here's the hard
I
part
think
is
that would grow.
You're taking my argument as I'm saying this is the solution.
Oh no, I'm giving just where I see.
Okay, bounce back what my solution is. Bounce back what my solution is. What my thought is.
I thought we were throwing out different ideas.
My only idea in this is that the federal drops its scheduling, and that way states are allowed to decide how they want to schedule and manage different problems.
I get that, but states do that with my taxes. So my point.
The feds do it with your taxes too. How's that panning out?
I'm saying taxes shouldn't go to fund drugs, in my opinion, for drug addicts. That's my opinion. Rehab centers,
sure, absolutely. That's great.
I want rehab centers. I want the homeless to be able to have a safe place, but I don't want homeless families to be in the same vicinity of people that are getting shot up on fentanyl or methamphetamine or anything like that.
And that's where your vote in this state would manage that.
Yes. And I think other states are doing what they want. I mean, Colorado has their deal. California has their deal. Oregon has theirs. But I look at their cities where they're implementing stuff like this, and it's nowhere I'd want to live.
No, not at all.
And I think that, yes, the federal government should make totally states' issues on drugs. And they're doing that. I mean, Colorado's got a couple legal drugs now. Oregon's got a couple.
Do you think on their implementation, it's only the implementation, or other ancillary things to their implementation are the problem?
I think the government is the problem. Because every process they go through, they get to try and fail. They get that because the money just keeps coming. It just keeps coming. And it gives them more power over a lot of different people and situations. Once the government gets in charge of your health care or your drug addiction, and they're in charge, gives them a lot of power. And then I think there's a lot of victims to that power, and that is the people they are taxing to afford this state by state. I look at the states that have legalized marijuana for fun.
Let me ask you.
I really don't care, but I see a lot of problems in those states with homelessness, with crime. The money they're making isn't going to make their schools exceptional.
Let me redirect this question then. Let's say there was a church who built a building and offered all these services I just spoke of. A church, a voluntary church. Would you join that church?
I don't know. What's the denomination?
Whatever denomination you prefer. But there's the exact denomination 3 blocks down who do not take your donations and put it towards the exact services I'm talking about.
So you're saying the church buys the drugs to distribute to the people and have them do it in a safe way?
Let's go extreme scenario. Yes, they buy the drugs, they use, but What if that church had the best outcomes?
I would hope they do, but I wouldn't want to take my kids to a
But
church.
you
They're
wouldn't see, and
they're
that's the tough part.
enabling drug addicts is what
I
they're
agree
doing.
with you. That's where government steps in, and government, it takes your money by force. So we'd be talking about city government more than likely. Takes your money by force and forcibly puts that towards civilization. Of course, you can go my way, and I shouldn't say my way. You can go the brutalist way and let nature sort it out for you. You offer them nothing. No heater in the winter, no water in the summer.
Are you talking about homeless or drug addicts that are homeless?
Little
'Cause
column
there's
A,
a
little column B.
Some
But
are, some
the ultimate libertarian style would be you offer them nothing. They pull themselves up by the bootstraps, or the universe gets its way.
yeah. Having
And no one wants that. I don't even want that either.
family
I
that I have
recognize
family
I-
that have been drug addicts. And I'll
I-
tell you this, the more you help them not face their addiction and not be cold or not be hungry or to get their fix, you're killing them. And that is just, you have to, at one point, they have to want the help and they have to do the work or it won't work. And yes, I believe truly that we have to make sure that we have places for the homeless and programs because it is an epidemic in this country, at least in certain states. But I think it's up to the churches to feed them, not to give them drugs, and hopefully get them some sort of housing, but not free housing. They got to get jobs. They've got to be able to earn, because once they do that on their own, they're empowered, not enabled. And that empowerment, making a paycheck, having an economy where they can actually afford groceries on their own in their own place, I think that is the answer to helping a lot of addicts out there. And therapy. So we need that. But I don't think it would ever be wise to enable a bunch of people like this, because it would have a lot of people just get worse.
maybe, I
Addicts'
don't know.
brains tell them constantly that they need their drug, they need their drug. It makes them excellent liars. It makes them excellent criminals. And if you're an addict out there and you're taking offense to that, this isn't about you then. But the people that I've known and been around, they do things they would never normally do. And it's any addiction, gambling,
Sure,
alcohol,
if you've ever
drugs.
seen Requiem for a Dream,
They will protect their addiction over everything.
100%. I'm not disagreeing with you on any of that, and I'm not even proposing solutions. But what I am proposing is the ability for different states to do that petri dish of tests, and you will have states that you'll have Wyoming like states that are brutalist, where every spring they've got to send a truck out to pick up all the cordwood bodies.
Look, it's happening now. California's doing their thing. Washington's doing their thing. Oregon's doing their thing. The thing is, they're not doing it right or well because they've turned their cities into garbage. And so people like Utah,
yes, they're doing their thing, but I think I think they're doing their thing in protest. I don't think they're doing their thing with any design on actually fixing it, because if you did, you would set it up to where there were barriers. You would put barriers between polite society and the dredge, and then you would lure the dredge into the barriers. But they haven't done that, right? So I think they're doing it in protest to Donald Trump getting elected, or in protest to, whatever they're protesting. I don't know, whatever whingy thing all those men with cervixes have going on in their head.
When San Francisco started it, it was a great idea. They were going to have a safe place, safe needles, safe drugs. They would inject it. They could come there And what happened is it drew in so many people, they didn't have space for them, and they had to go outside. And then they started to live outside, and it grew and it got out of control. According to the San Francisco discussions, the people that
Sure.
wanted it had great intentions. I don't think
And
it
they
was
never set up any
intentional.
barriers. And then when they saw that this was failing, they never adjusted. They wrote it out because they said, we made a decision and our decision is correct no matter what.
No, they
And
raised
that's what they
taxes
did.
to accommodate.
Oh,
their
100%.
failure. Yeah.
100%.
We're seeing the petri dishes around the country, but I'm seeing, I mean, it's made it so
You
I've
can't
never,
call it a petri dish if you have either this or that and none of the other choices that are available.
but you see what California does.
Uh-huh.
Washington's doing it too, but they're doing
exact
it a little
same
bit
thing.
different. No, they're doing it a little bit different.
What different?
The drugs. They're allowing only certain drugs. I don't think fentanyl is on their list at all, or meth. But you can come in and you can do mushrooms. You can do methadone. You can get for your Oxycontin addiction. People addicted to opioids, heroin. They're not going to shoot you up with heroin, but they are going to shoot you up with methadone or some other fast acting thing. And they have shelters because Washington is freezing compared to California. In Colorado, they allow mushrooms, and you go and sit in an office and you with a doctor and they administer it to you, and you sit for 6 hours or however long in a controlled environment. You pay
Is it
for
working?
it. You
Is
pay
it
a lot of
working
money.
in Colorado?
I guess it is on the mushroom front because the
Is
people
it,
that do it are paying a ton of money. It's not the audience that is the addict that's in the street.
Yeah, the mushrooms, that's not an addictive
No,
substance.
it's not. It's just
So all they do is they've offered a chance to go have a personal ayahuasca trip style thing with your shaman.
no. If you're in a medical room and you're paying
Sure,
the time.
sure.
Honestly,
I'm sure down
mushrooms
in
aren't illegal unless you're going to distribute. I mean,
Yeah.
that stuff literally grows in Oregon, Washington.
You know what
But-
literally grows here?
I've never seen it.
Oh,
Well, and there's the
and
other
it
thing.
grows
Like,
really well during hunting season. You end up marching on a lot of it.
a lot of the addiction is opioids, and so they have their clinics where you go in and you get your dose of methadone, and then you leave. And it's controlled. It's something you have to take every day. And it's for people who are trying to get off opioids without dying because they just suddenly stopped. These are we have it here in Utah. We have methadone clinics here in Utah.
What works about? See, I happen to think that having a forthright and religious society works the best.
A moral society, yes.
Yeah, that's what I think works the best. That's just my opinion. California probably has a lot of people from all over, a lot of people, just addicts from all over the world coming there.
Yes.
So I imagine California, I mean, we know it has homeless from all over the world, and addiction and homelessness, they run hand in hand.
Because if you build it, they will come.
And that's because
a drug clinic, they'll come.
Well, that's because when Newsom was mayor of San Francisco, he started a anti-homeless program and threw a lot of money to it, which all his rich buddies jumped in because it's a money-making scheme. Dig into that one day, folks. You'll be like, oh, they don't care at all about the homeless. They just want to build fancy properties that have the most modern amenities that have like a 5-year contract, and then they get turned back over to the developer as condominiums. Developer goes in, full flush clean, boom. He's got condominiums that the great state of California, that the person that he donated money to the campaign of, kind of hooked him up with. It's pretty wild. California is
a ton of money
the
off of those
heart of
properties after
corruption.
those leases up.
It's the heart of corruption. It's the blade of the axe. But I'm wondering, is there other ways? I would like all 50 states to try their own way to see what their taxpayers can bear, to see what because let's face it, Utah's ideals of a moral, upright LDS community wouldn't function very well in Colorado or, Ohio, Indiana. It probably wouldn't function well there, right?
Right.
Because
but
it's different group of values.
A lot of people will leave those states just to come here because our values are different.
Sure, 100%. And a lot of people will leave our state to go there. Just like a lot of people leave our state to go to California because California has free drug use and you can build a plywood and cardboard barn dominium on Sunset Avenue as we speak. You can, in front of the police, hit the fentanyl in the left arm and pull your pants down in the right arm to pinch off a heavy in the middle of the street.
Yes.
And that's why they go there, because you build it, they will come. And there will be lots and lots. There will be more failures than there are successes in any design, just like there is now. Just like there was with the amendment that made alcohol illegal, that 3 amendments later, they had to come back and say, make it legal again. We just brought up the most murderous thing we could have. We built organized crime, and now they're massacring people in the streets with fully automatic weapons. Now we have to shatter all of Jared's dreams by coming up with the NFA because we did that.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I mean, think about it. We've tried what we can try. When is the accountability of the user come into it, and the work that needs to be done on their behalf?
have we tried all we can try?
Out of that. As far as the government's concerned, yes. If the government made all drugs legal and then let the states determine what drugs are legal or not, I think that...
Or not just what's legal, how the states are going to manage the particulars of it.
Is that the bottom line? Is that what you're trying to get at? Is that the government...
I'm trying to get at the 10th
federal
Amendment.
government-
I'm trying to get at the 10th Amendment. That's where I'm trying to get.
I think making all drugs legal, where the states manage what they consider legal or not, which is happening now where they're legalizing things. I think that we've seen right now in the states that have legalized things, debauchery, overwhelming onto their law enforcement, overwhelming on the homeless population. It's only making things like that. And the money isn't going where they thought it would go, which is schools and rehabs. And somehow it just doesn't get there. And that's because government is the problem.
Well,
And
that's
people
because the
are
three
being
main
able-
states,
they're able-
that did it are ran by lizards. I mean, Democrats.
Well,
Ran,
even
they
Vegas-
they are Democrat strongholds where you don't have the back and forth. Just like I wouldn't want to live in a Republican stronghold, I wouldn't want to live in a Democrat stronghold. You need to have that other spirit on the other shoulder telling you, hey, maybe that's a little crazy, or, because the Democrats are going to tell themselves, yeah, we're 100% successful. Look at this, a new opportunity for people to make an app that shows you where the poo is on the streets of San Francisco.
I think when you enable people will do it. Kids will try it. When it's all of a sudden, you could put drug cartels out of business, but then you become the drug cartel.
There was areas in China where at the end of the opium wars, for lack of a better word, their mandarins came around and said, went to the opium dens and said, "We'll be back in a week. You better not be here."
Oh,
And
yeah.
they came back in a week, and those that were there were executed in the streets in front of the opium dens, and their family was notified they have X amount of time to retrieve the body.
Yeah, I remember.
Now, that's a brutalist way we could go about this, but I wouldn't want to go that way. It would be a cure. I think it would be an immediate cure. But I don't want that moral stain on my psyche.
No, because people that have addiction are still people. They're lost souls who are covering
Sure.
something up in their life. And that's why I am more go the route of church where they can go.
How do you
They're
force
not
them into
fed drugs,
church?
but they're given, I mean, the 12-step program. And
How do you force them into that?
they have to want it. You don't force it. You cannot force an addict to do anything.
Okay, then we're back to square one.
Absolutely.
How do we stop fentanyl coming into the country?
What?
Back to square one. How do we stop fentanyl illegally coming into the country?
Well, we seal up the border and we don't let ships from countries run by drug cartels into our water or airspace or wherever. I think Trump is doing most of that.
I wonder. I would
these
like to know.
Operations won't continue if they're inside. We've got enough people inside to make the shit.
I would like to know what the precursors are for fentanyl. So how do we stop the fentanyl? How do we stop it?
Anyway, how do you stop guns? How do you stop child trafficking? If you can nail that, then we win. We're doing the steps.
Well, you stop guns by arming everyone. All of a sudden, polite society. But
no, I'm talking about illegal guns coming across the border. Guns much stronger than the ones that are
if everyone's armed, guns are no longer a problem.
What about child trafficking?
How do you stop that?
And we
can do. There I go quite brutalist. I go with.
You're interrupting me. You asked me a question.
Oh, sorry.
I'm saying we secure the borders. Mm-hmm. We do DNA testing. If there's families coming across the border, mm-hmm. even in asylum, they have to prove who they belong to by DNA testing. And then you have to literally execute the people who are committing the crimes. Because to me, sex abuse of a child deserves a death penalty.
I have no problem with that at all. Matter of fact, I mean, I'd bring back the will in a heartbeat. I'd break them on the will.
I'm not even a fan of the death penalty because of all the people who have been found not guilty after the fact.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of it, but I think that people who hurt and rape children and women and abuse them, if they are proven or found guilty, I don't think there's rehab for that. I really don't.
No. I'm one of those who thinks that if you traffic another human being into any kind of slavery, I like the idea of open season. I don't care if it's a child either. If you traffic a full-grown grandma into slavery, or a woman or a man, if you traffic them into that, where you take them from point A to point B against their will with no contract and none of that, I'm good with. You know what? You're wasting my perfectly good oxygen. I think you would work much better as fertilizer.
Well, I don't want to go around killing people, but I get the
sentiment. I'd do it for you.
I get the sentiment.
I'm some areas I'm very black and white.
Yeah. But we also have a constitution in this country, and we have to stay within the parameters of that.
So I think 29th Amendment, if thou touchest the child.
I don't think you have to say thouest.
or ship people into indentured servitude against their will, thouest forfeit thy life. We could
Well,
write it flowery.
what about the president of, was it El Salvador, that put a hit out on every
Bukele?
drug dealer?
I don't know if he put a hit on him, but they were arresting people simply for having
you
tattoos.
could kill him. You
Good.
could kill him legally in the
I like
streets.
Bukele. See, we live in a wild world right now. Going back to, let's come in full circle, talking about this kind of interesting timeline we live in. So you've got Bukele, which is showing kind of an extreme, not extreme and not brutalist, but he's showing what it looks like if you let the security side of government loose. The we will keep you safe and secure side, and they're blooming. And then you've got Milei down in Argentina, and he's showing what it looks like if you let the libertarian side loose. And they had a huge economic dip in the beginning, but now they're like climbing back up. And I think, I mean, I can't make a prediction that the future's bright with both of them, but they're showing that they offer more to their populace than the socialism that our Democrats are trying to head towards. Our Democrats are almost trying to mirror the socialism that comes out of South America, or, you know, the Western Europe socialism that they're living with today, which socialism is a death knell for a modern society. It turns you into a crap hole real quick. And then there's riots going on in Ireland right now. Have you seen that?
No.
Ireland is on fire.
Over what?
Afghani migrant who was ordered to leave and didn't leave, and they never enforced it, assaulted a 10-year-old girl. A 10-year-old girl.
Most of Europe isn't on fire for that, and they were a few weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
But the migrant problem, this is another reason we need Gaza fixed and the Middle East joined together to kind of make a better place so they can get these migrants back to their culture and their rules and what they're used to. I mean, if we fix the places these people fled from, at least to their expectations, so they can live and work and have a life and raise a family, it would relieve a lot of the burden that's on these European countries. But again, they invited them. And then
yes, they did.
They have totally different culture and views on women and views on sex.
Well,
and
did
violence.
They invite them, or did their government invite them?
I'm talking only about their government. I'm not talking about the citizens of these countries. I'm talking about the government, which not always represents the citizens. When I talk about Israel, I'm usually talking about its government.
So here's a little bit of the Ireland right now.
That looks like one of our mostly peaceful protests.
Yeah. That's a Garda. Garda is Irish police. This is Ireland.
Did he essay a little girl?
Yes, and she was awarded the state. She was like a
foster child.
Like a foster child, and they had hotels that were set up. They had the story confuses me. They had like a fostering system in the hotels, and they also put these migrants in the hotels, and it's just brutal. And this is going on everywhere. What's that?
Did he kill her?
No, he just did the big R's to her.
That's enough, but
that's more than enough. Honestly, the state should hand him over to the crowd. Let them decide. Jordan says,
was he found guilty? I mean, did he get a trial?
I don't know.
Because I'm curious. He's not alone.
I don't.
There's
no,
a number
he's not.
of migrants who have done that.
No, all of England and all Scotland, they're all standing up for their they're selling their daughters off. They're selling them off so they can have low-wage workers, I believe. But Jordan says, all we need is a Jared and Jesse the Body Ventura 2028. Jared, you got my vote, brother. You don't want me anywhere near that office. Nowhere near that office. I'm a crazy person and I'm not smart. It's a bad mix.
You'd fit in nicely. What do you mean?
Oh, that's a good point. Okay. Over on Facebook, Norma says, totally wrong to tax for this purpose. The problem is they have laced our other drugs with fentanyl, created many more addicts than we can deal with. That is another thing. They'll take the innocuous, like the marijuana, lace it with fentanyl, or there has been teenagers killed because they put fentanyl on like Tylenol. And so not only do the teenager, poisoning their future children with autism, but they're hitting the fentanyl at the same time.
In Utah, 2 teenagers died because at a party, they got what they thought was a pain pill. And I think it was a Lortab or a Percocet, but it had been cut with fentanyl and it killed them.
And they're stepping fentanyl on all sorts of stuff. Brent says, the problem is how many homeless drug addicts could ever hold a job or do a satisfactory job if they did?
Yep, that's why they have to not be addicts anymore. I mean, they're always an addict, but they have to want to get clean. And then if they choose that, then they go through job training or whatever to change their lives. But so many don't want to change.
Well, there's a big one. He says there were drug addicts and lunatics in the 60s. And before, what became of them? They were institutionalized either in the mental health lockup or prison. One reason there are so many homeless today is that it's illegal to hold someone against their will.
Yeah.
Very true. And that's another option, is let's open those up again. Let's put them in loony bins. Bring them back.
Asylums great again.
Yes. Norma says it doesn't work because they are still using illicit drugs after and with the methadone. And that is also very true. And Brent says, on a local note, I noticed that the homeless camps on 4th South Salt Lake City are gone now. In fact, I recently witnessed a cop rousting out a vagrant and presumably sending him on his way. Granted, he was probably put on a bus to Tooele. Yeah, that's true. They've got that. They're also, I heard they opened up another homeless shelter. Wasn't it down by Harriman or somewhere, or West Jordan? And West Jordan's like, wait a second, this wasn't a part of our plan. Which is another thing.
They will send them.
When you have governments that will gladly set up a situation like that you're not okay with. The government will force your hand instead of, and it'll be a soft location. When a hard location is like if they set up an asylum where they can't easily get at the polite society, but they set them up in these soft locations where they can get at polite society and rather easy.
Like a halfway house. Let me tell you how much what you said about holding people against their will. When my stepdad was in his it's like a rest home, but it's really nice. My stepdad sometimes would get the urge to climb out of bed, which he did not have the strength or ability to do. And he would fall out of bed. And I said, why don't you just put a rail up? And when they tried that, he would go through the rail. And I'm like, well, can't you just seatbelt him into bed? Oh, no. That would be illegal. And I'm like, well, how about
can't I sign a waiver?
And put something between the bars so we can't slide through him. No, we cannot hinder his ability to leave or move at all. And I'm like, he's getting hurt. Sorry.
And then you have to have
Absolute.
Yeah, and then you have to have silver alerts.
It was interesting to me because even if it's in the best interest of the patient, I know that when you're in a wheelchair, sometimes they have to strap you so you can sit up, but they have to be able to undo that strap themselves.
Huh.
Again, I get it because we went this far now. We have to find a place where we can keep people safe. But if they're in an asylum, they have to have been decided that by a judge. So it's either you've been found guilty, but you're crazy, you're going into this asylum and you're getting treatment, mental health treatment. You're not getting drugs that just have you a zombie there all day, and you're getting regular check-ins, like people are checking on the facility. We could fix the problems of the 60s where those asylums had, where people were just dumped there and left forever.
Well, okay. The 60s really didn't have those problems. Let me lay it out for you.
Then
The way that the problems really came around in the 80s, well, the late 70s and into the 80s. So when JFK was a senator in the 50s, him and a psychologist got together and wrote a law that was going to defund involuntary asylums because his sister was put in one and he had a sore spot for it. So that went on and slowly got defunded over time.
and
that's
lobotomized. And she was lobotomized.
Yeah, she was lobotomized because she was like the boys, and old Joe couldn't have that. Anyways, so over time, so when you come to the end of the 70s, they had defunded them, but everyone was still in them. And you hear the horror stories. It's like where it bled into culture in the 70s. Like Batman went from, that's where Arkham Asylum kind of came into Batman, because that was a place where it went from having, like a 1-to-3 ratio orderly to patient to a 1 to like 25 ratio orderly to patient, because they defunded them and they quit getting money, and then they quit getting money to replace beds and wheelchairs and stuff. So in the end, I did a show on this when me and my sister, and she showed all the pictures of what that big asylum in New York State looked like in the late 70s. And she showed what it looked like in the 50s. And it was kind of, it was a orderly hospital looking place.
Like a college campus almost. It was beautiful.
In the end of the 70s,
Nightmare.
it looked like a haunted house. And people were languishing in beds covered in their own feces. So I get that. I get why JFK didn't like institutions, but I think he shot. The problem is we need to sit all politicians down. What the heck's that show where they hold the kids' eyes open and make them watch stuff, and make all politicians study Thomas Sowell? Just have it force-fed into their brains, just so that our politicians make logical decisions moving forward, because they're Thomas Sowell, the greatest quote ever quoted in all of history is, "There are no solutions, only trade-offs." And if you remember that, you can make decision trees a lot better. But if you don't remember that, you jump in whole hog one way and you're stuck.
Well, I mean, we can learn from the past. There should be, prison/mental institutions where people are charged with crimes, and that's where they go. We do have those in this country. They're not filled to the brim. And then there should be private facilities that go off insurance.
We have those also.
Yeah, but I'm talking more of a government also part of it, to where if this person is committing multiple small crimes, but they actually are getting worse and they have mental illness, they're not fit to stand trial, they shouldn't be sitting in a jail. They should be sitting in a hospital type place where the government is still watching their every move, but they've got a doctor helping them and they're regulating medications and they can afford it, or the families can afford it. Because you throw them in a jail, it's the same thing. They're not getting better. They're just getting it better at being criminals from what they're around and who they talk to.
Or they just become punching bags and abuse victims in there.
Yes. Which, that needs to be something that we really consider bringing back. And if I have a child that's going through something and I'm severely worried about their mental health or something like that, I mean, I only know of uni up at the university for them to take, and they rarely have beds. There should be hospitals that are actually designed to help people struggling with mental illness, where just like I go into the ER, I can go into that hospital with my insurance, or at least I know what it costs, and I can say, listen, can my child talk to someone? Can they stay for a few days and get it figured out? And I know they're going to be safe. They're not going to be abused by the staff, or they're not going to be messed with in their heads by some weirdo. I mean, asylums are the old asylums are what nightmares are made of. I think American Horror Story did their second season on an asylum and how it was at the end, ran by nuns. And the intention is good, but without the funding and without the heart that goes with it into helping these people, it's terrifying. I mean, imagine they used to put women in there for being excited or disagreeable.
Oh, the good old days.
And yet women they could be put in there by their husbands with no recourse.
Man.
We don't need that to come back.
God, those men were so lucky. Dave, did you hear this? Dave says, I think labor camps would cure drug addiction. It might.
That could be it too.
Definitely not. It's horrible stuff. There's no good answer. There is a degree of suck that will be endured, 100%. Sounds like you need to raise taxes with those ideas, Holly.
They do require taxes going up. Or
only hard work will.
A lot of other programs.
Only hard work can set them free. I don't know how.
I think Hitler said that. Nice, Dave.
Well, Hitler didn't say that, but the gate at Auschwitz said
the gate
at
Dachau also says that.
Or it says hard work shall set you free.
Frau.
We're in a conundrum where I don't know I don't know what the other side of this looks like, because I know what I want, but I'm also recognizing that achieving it is almost impossible and is uglier than not. And I know
churches need to be the people who run these programs.
And everything seems to have gotten more expensive, but is there let's ask this. Is there a municipal service here in Tooele County that you would be willing to give up?
What do you like, for the county or the city?
We're saying the county.
I'm not sure what the county is. Kind of basic. It's the cities that get into the actual like snow plowing.
Okay. Is there a city service that you would be willing to give up?
In mine, absolutely.
No, let's say Tooele, because you don't live in a real city. You're unincorporated. You're the weirdos. You're like people under the stairs. Let's say Tooele City. We got the road crew. I mean, the school districts.
Oh, yep. There you go.
we've got the library, we've got all these.
I give up the school district. I
Okay.
would make the school district cut a ton of funding off the top and invest it back into the teachers and save a lot of money on taxes on a lot of stuff there. Starting with a
Yeah.
lot of the administrators. I think that teachers, and then I could see the school district getting their curriculum from the state school board and empowering the teachers and paying the teachers well, and having one superintendent that
Do they
runs
have to?
We don't need 8 directors making $200K a year.
Could they get their curriculum from PTA?
Sure. I think as long as the local community approves of the curriculum going out to our local kids, yeah.
Did you read? Are you reading Facebook right now?
No, because I'm on my phone with you.
Dave says, or you could legalize prostitution and tax it to help the homeless.
All right, Dave, whatever you want.
Oh, how is it we went from a discussion about irrationality of Democrats into this?
Well,
I think
we had to cover if it's irrational what
it's
Trump
the
is doing
loony
with
bin
boats, with the drug boats.
It's the lunatic angle. Come full circle every time.
I don't know.
No, I shouldn't say that.
2
Look,
hours of it.
the No Kings protest, to me, it reminds me of Black Lives Matter. They learned a hard lesson there. They learned 2 lessons. They learned one, well, the blacks learned don't trust Democrat protest movements. And the Democrats learned use protests to shut a country down to get what you want. Because I know they're democracies in their name, but they don't believe in democracy. They've proven that time and again.
And republic is in our name, my name.
Yep.
And that's what we believe in.
Well, I was, let's finish out with this. So anyways, No Kings protest, all the ICE riots going on. It's so much to cover, but I do have to close the show down at 8 because I have to go to work in the morning and I am not going to stay up late. Not tonight. I am fighting this cold hard, but I want to. Oh, where was I at? Where was I going with that?
The ICE protests and this No Kings protest.
Yep.
They learned 2 things. I don't think they learned much at all.
Well, they learned to shut governments down through protest. And they're essentially like, ICE is doing a job that costs X. The protest is making that job cost Y. And then the Democrats get to come back around and argue, you're doing that job at Y cost. Well, it's Y cost because of you guys.
And mind you, what they're doing is exactly what Trump ran on when he won the popular vote and the Electoral College, to do this. And Democrats,
you're not wrong.
Which I might say, when you look at the video of people protesting in the Snow Kings rally, I'd say the majority, even in black communities, is white people.
White retirees.
Oh, well, they were emptying out rest homes and putting them in the bus and bringing them out.
I know. And I'll bet. You know who's hurting the worst right now? We need to give a minute to Country Kitchen Buffet. They're hurting right now. What? No customers there for the lunch special. I noticed they're closing the protest down early, though.
Oh, my gosh. Well,
for the retirees.
I know you're being funny, but I did see them loading up the bus, and I saw one guy just came out the doors, and he just gave him a nod and took off the other way. He's like, I'm not going with you.
He
And
escaped.
a lot of these people have no idea what they're even protesting, which tells me they're getting paid to be there
Oh,
or
yes.
enticed to be there.
Oh,
Their
yes.
sight is obvious. It's waiting for them. One guy had a video of him walking up on where he's supposed to get his signs and all of that. And because he was filming, they wouldn't talk. But they had Ukraine flags. They had Palestinian flags that you could just pick up and take. The American flag upside down.
Yeah.
Which tells me when I'm looking at these pictures and videos, what I'm feeling is it's a lot of people who hate this country because you don't see any pride in the country. You don't see any answers.
Oh, yeah.
To what they're protesting. You can't, no one is saying what Trump's done to be a king. Like, aside from what he was.
Didn't he fly an F-15 and bombed him with feces, or was that a fever dream I had?
That is AI at its finest. And what's funny is they say President Lincoln would have never done that. Of course, the AI wasn't invented yet.
He might have asked someone to draw, someone to draw a cartoon.
They're trolling the biggest troll in America. He's making fun back. And you know what? It's a no king's protest.
Do you think it would only
even have the protest?
Here's my question. Do you think, let's fast forward 3 years and we have another election and a different Republican, not from his administration, is president. Do you think they will carry on like this again? Or do you think that this is specifically focused at Donald Trump?
It's Trump derangement syndrome.
Well, it is, but do you think
I
it'll...
absolutely believe that it won't carry on to the next Republican,
Okay.
Not to the extent it is with Trump. They only talk about Trump. They love to talk about Trump. Even the 4 years of Biden, Trump was always a story.
I know.
Always. They hate the man. They hate him.
And it's tough. Trump has set himself up in Sun Tzu's The Art of War's ultimate field problem, where you put your back against the wall. Trump has to perform, he has to win, and he also has to ensure that his predecessor comes from one of his people. Or not his predecessor, the guy coming next. Sorry, guys.
That's how most presidents do it.
Trump is. I don't think Trump has done anything to earn the vitriol he gets, but
I'm talking about to ensure their predecessor, the person who comes after them. I mean, most presidents try to do that and give their nod to whoever the nominee is.
There's that, but
party thing.
No, I think Trump has to win, because let's say we fast forward 3 years and AOC becomes president. I think all of Trump's administration is thrown in jail and then tried for anything they can make up. And so Trump has to win, and Trump has to win, and he has to pass on the presidency to one of his people. He has to. And then, because I don't think we could end with Trump and then not have it go the extreme. And let's face it, the Biden administration laid that out.
Yeah, they've already done it.
They did, but Trump is now, that's the field we play on. Again, I don't know how we make it through this. I don't know how the U.S. exists in 10 years. I don't know how it does. I don't want it to not exist, but I don't know how it does. Does something happen that makes us, I mean, if we leaned on the 10th Amendment, if everyone listened to me, homely, moronic me, we would survive. But no one's going to listen to me, because I listen to, you know what Breaking Points is? Crystal Ball and Sagar and Jetty. Anyways, it's a new show on YouTube. They used to do The Hill Rising. And one is Sagar is a conservative and Crystal is a nut job. I mean, a Democrat, a socialist. And they were arguing this, and he is arguing for the point of the 10th Amendment, the petri dish of ideas. And to listen to the way she argued back, and what? Just let states do what they want? And I was like, wow, that's where we are. And I hear it the most. Well, yeah, I hear it the most coming from Democrats, but I also hear Republicans argue against that. And this has been something I've been preaching since the day me and Dave started this show. I've been preaching the 10th Amendment is our only salvation.
I absolutely agree with you. The state should have all of them. That's what the Constitution intended. The federal government was such an afterthought of the power that it had. Protect the states. And that's the thing. Like, if we still have crap within our politics in our states, we all know that.
Oh, yeah.
But it is your local voter with local issues and local taxes that affect your life. You absolutely be able to move across country to a state that better fits you if that's what you please. A state shouldn't have to accommodate everybody. It should work according to law and according to those people who elect. And so few people vote when you come out to the real crux of the matter. So few people vote when you have a state where a lot of people are engaged and voting and all of that. You absolutely should be running your state according to your culture, your populace. And if it doesn't work with the federal government and what they're doing, like it did under Biden, then move.
Yeah, well, it's not just that, but you can say, look, I want to live in a state that conforms to my religious desires. Move to that state. Or I want to live in a state that honors art above all else, that has an art museum and the state throws money at artists. I'm not an artist, but I want to live in a state that does that. Then you move to that state. Or I want to live in a state that legalizes gambling and prostitution. You move to that state. And you let the states decide. And unless that state tramples on the individual rights of a person, that state doesn't have to go argue to the federal government about stuff. Let's read a few more comments real quick, though.
I haven't even seen Facebook. So hi, Facebook family. I'm sorry. I had to use my phone to do this interview.
Yeah, Holly was. Next week, Holly will be in person. I just didn't want to give her this cold this week. So Norma says the CCC corrupt camps for a cure. I like it. She even come up with the name. Dave said, what would other animal species do? Then he says, Meals on Wheels. And then about the prostitution, he says, I love problem solving, guys.
You're so good at it.
No Kings was Occupy Wall Street version 2. I think in a lot of ways it was, except Occupy Wall Street. We need to do a show on that one day. I think Occupy Wall Street was when businesses turned to the left so that they could get out of their crosshairs. And then David says, deranged boomers with too much free time. And that's 100%. 100%. That's this No Kings protest looks like an old folks Halloween parade.
Well, and unemployed basement dwellers getting a quick buck.
Well, yes, that too. That too. And a lot of guys trying to sniff up a little hippie action while they're out and about, you know. They don't care what's going on. You know, they put down their Xbox controller for a reason. They want to get some. Yeah.
Jared, I do
little
want to mention
squeal.
something that I'd like to talk about in the next week is I'm seeing a lot of stuff on X where the left is encouraging people to arm themselves.
Yes, we do need to cover that,
and
including
LGBTQ especially. But they're the way they're talking is to arm yourself for battle, and they don't care how they're saying it or anything else. And I would really like to get into that with you, because if you as an instructor, because I know you want to teach people safety, but what if people come to your class just to kill you?
Ooh, just to kill me.
I mean, to learn and to start learning how to kill people like
I
yourself,
hope
other armed people. Like, what if this is something that could be
it could be.
nefarious? I want everyone to
It
own a
very
gun,
much
but
could be. It could be also. I'm hoping that the ministries of Jared will at least convert them to not want to be offensive with that weapon system.
and it is happening, and I
It
do
is.
have a couple of interesting. I'm hoping to get someone on that knows more, that is in the gun training world, and they're noticing a large uptick, and they've even had warnings sent out.
Yeah,
to
we've
them
had a
to be
bigger
wary.
classes. I don't know how you filter that. Well, granted, I'm not one of the people that lets people into the classes, but that is one thing you'll have to figure out how to filter. Of course, they're doing training with the John Brown Gun Club most of the time. That tends to be kind of their focus.
Yeah, well, I think that's something that's going to come up. It's already up, where they're encouraging, if you're black, get a firearm. If you're LGBTQ, get a gun. You're going to need it for the fight. We're going to battle. And it's like, whoa.
Well, some of them,
if
like,
you were on the right and said that, like, can you imagine
yeah.
if we were like, everybody arm yourselves for the battle?
When Don Lemon said it, he said, in case ICE comes to tear you apart from your family. That sounds like he was, I mean, it was abhorrent, but he said it in a defensive manner. But I have heard or seen him where they've said, get a gun. We've got to go to them. I mean, you've got Destiny and Vaush. Those are a couple of internet guys that
Lemon, that sounds like a threat on a federal officer.
It does
very well get him in trouble. I mean, you have
I think they should pursue it too. They should honestly, that should be pursued. I think the Justice Department should send him a letter and say, okay, you need to arrange a time to meet with, FBI agent who and FBI agent ho, and explain what you meant by that. And get him tapping his toes to where he goes on his show and said, I made a mistake. I meant, I would never suggest that you raise arms against ICE, that you should, always fight him in court,
This is the same guy talking about how the right's violent rhetoric is why Charlie Kirk was assassinated.
Look, I would love to get up here and say Don Lemon has a high IQ and moral character that that any man would be honored to have, but I would be a liar if I said that. So if I said Don Lemon is a DEI newscaster who's now trying to float through on his laurels that got him in there because he got in there because he's black and gay, and other than that, he's an utter retarded failure.
He's not gay anymore.
That's finally.
He's engaged to a woman.
Don Lemon?
Yeah.
Are you sure? He's married to a dude.
No, I don't think they were married, but I can't look it up because my phone's being used, but look it up. Last I heard, they caught an engagement on the beach or something of him asking a woman to marry him.
Uh-huh. No, still a dude. A white dude. Yep. Nope, Don Lemon is still married to a dude.
Well, then I must have got information wrong.
Yeah.
But
it's Tim Malone.
Checked then.
His husband's name is Tim Malone.
which I don't care. I
And
love,
no, I'm great.
love
Hey,
gay
if you're
people,
gay,
but he is such a hypocrite.
no, he's a retarded puke. Don Lemon doesn't have enough character to be a hypocrite. He's a puke. He's been a puke. He's always been a puke. He only survived at CNN because CNN first wanted that DEI hire. Oh, look how progressive we are. We're going to hire this black gay guy, and he's going to be openly black or openly gay and obviously openly black, you know, and he's going to be out there and he's going to draw in the people. You know, we can knock out 2 demographics with 1 stone. We don't care how much he lies. We don't care how worthless he is in interviews. And they didn't. And
That
he
sounds
did.
like Biden's press secretary.
Well, Cream
Yeah.
J. Pierre.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Now, she's
He
a
checked all
different.
those boxes.
You know what? I'll tell you what. We need to breed her and Don Lemon and see how sleazy we can go with humanity.
I don't even want to
Test
ever hear
subject.
the words breed again when you're talking about human.
It's called creepy person husbandry.
Yeah, no, thank you. No, thank you. Okay, well, it's time to wrap
All right.
up the show.
Yep.
We will
Say-
see you Wednesday of next week.
Yes, we're on Wednesdays now. Holly, give your best to my family, or give my
I
best
will.
to your
I
family.
give my best to your family.
I will. And you get down there and see Grandma. She'd love to see you.
Does she like any treats? Should I bring her a milkshake or something?
She loves chocolates. She'll be happy with whatever you come down with. She's not eating a lot. And yeah, go visit her, but you take her by anything, she'll be happy.
All right, I'll get in touch to find out. Well,
Okay.
I'll probably drag my mom along.
Perfect. Yeah. She loves seeing your mom. All right, everyone, have a good week and a good weekend. Be safe. You know, stay out of trouble.
We love you guys. Thank you for your support.
Yes.
David, we miss you. And everybody, thank you for Jordan. Thank you for your comments on YouTube.
Mhm.
And Norma, as always, thank you for your comments. I especially like them. I like them especially when people agree with me. Highly competitive, the two of us are, as you can tell. But
Yeah.
I do miss you so, cousin, and I'm excited to get things back on track. And
Yes, I miss you
a couple of
too.
Great shows booked, and I don't want anyone to forget before the show is over that your school district voted against you not too long ago to raise your taxes. So let's not forget that. And though the taxes didn't get raised because they messed up, just remember they're not going to mess up next time. And they're going to want to get more because they didn't win this time. So elections have consequences, and 2 seats are coming up next year. So let's hope that you'll trust Jared and I to try to get good candidates in here to meet with you and talk about the district. And let's not forget the 3 that are up in 4 years, because they're counting on the fact that you'll forget.
Yeah, I think if you can't hear them tell you what they want to do personally, don't vote for them. I think we need to start a second show to interview the local people. Keep this more of a esoteric, crazy person thing.
Oh,
I think
because we have nothing but time.
Yeah.
When are you going to do that, dear?
I don't know. Anyways, all right. We should force them to start their own stuff. All right. You guys have a wonderful week. Be safe.
Yeah. Thank you, guys. Bye.